The chamber is open and full of whispers.
The night is cold over Godric's hollow. Severus Snape apparates into the lane outside the Potter cottage with a crack like breaking bone. His black robes billow in the autumn wind. His wand is already in his hand. He sees it immediately, the front door blasted open, hanging crooked on its hinges, the protective enchantment shattered. The ward's silent. "No," he whispers. "No, no, no." He runs. Up the garden path. Through the doorway. The entrance hall is destroyed, furniture overturned, scorch marks on the walls, the smell of dark magic thick in the air. James Potter lies sprawled at the foot of the stairs, dead. Eyes open, wand still clutched in his hand. Though it did him no good, Severus doesn't stop. Doesn't look at James's face. Can't afford to feel anything about the man he hated for 7 years. Because upstairs, he hears Lily screaming. He takes the stairs 3 at a time, heart hammering against his ribs. Turns left at the landing. The nursery door is open, green light spilling out into the hallway. He bursts through the doorway. The scene burns into his memory instantly. Lily standing in front of Harry's crib, arms spread wide, her red hair wild around her face, the baby crying behind her. And Lord Voldemort, tall, pale, serpentine, raising his wand with casual contempt. "Stand aside, you foolish girl," Voldemort says. His voice is high and cold. "Stand aside now. Not Harry. Not Harry. Please, not Harry. Stand aside. Please have mercy, have mercy." Voldemort's patience ends. His wand flicks upward. Avada Kedavra. Severus acts on pure instinct. He can't block a killing curse. Impossible. Can't shield Lily. She's too far away. Can't attack Voldemort. The Dark Lord would kill him with a thought. But he can move her. Wandless magic. The most difficult form of spellcasting, requiring absolute focus and desperate intent. Severus has both. He doesn't speak, doesn't even gesture, just wills it with every fiber of his being. Come to me. The summoning charm activates. Lily is yanked backward as if hooked around the waist by an invisible rope. She flies across the nursery, crashing into Severus just as the green light fills the room. The killing curse passes through the space where she was standing. Hits Harry Potter instead. The baby's scream cuts off. Then, green light explodes outward from Harry's small body like a shockwave. Voldemort has time for one expression of complete shock before the magic strikes him. His body disintegrates, robes collapse empty, wand clatters to the floor. A high, terrible shriek fills the air, not dying, but fleeing, as something dark and formless tears through the ceiling and vanishes into the night. Silence. Lily lies in Severus's arms, unconscious from the impact. Harry is crying in his crib, a lightning bolt cut fresh and bleeding on his forehead. Severus's hands shake as he checks Lily's pulse. Strong, steady, alive. He allows himself 3 seconds of relief. Then his mind starts working. They have minutes, maybe less. The magical explosion will have alerted every ward in the area. Ministry aurors will apparate here within 5 minutes. Dumbledore will follow shortly after. And when they arrive, they'll find Lily alive, Voldemort gone, and Severus Snape, known Death Eater, standing over the scene. They'll take Harry, put him with Lily's muggle sister Petunia, who hates magic and hated Lily. They'll raise him to be ignorant, weak, controllable. And they'll send Severus to Azkaban, or execute him outright. The vow he made to Dumbledore won't matter. The headmaster has no legal authority over the Ministry's justice system. Severus looks at Lily's unconscious face. At the baby crying in the crib, he makes his decision. "Lily," he says urgently, shaking her shoulder. "Lily, wake up. We have to go now." Green, always beautiful. They focus on him with difficulty. Severus? What? Memory returns. She gasps, tries to sit up. "Harry? Where's Harry? Where's—" "Alive. He's alive, but we don't have time. Listen to me." He grabs her shoulders, forces her to meet his eyes. "The Ministry will be here in minutes. They'll take Harry. Put him with your sister. You know what Petunia is like. You know what she'll do to him." "I'll fight them. You'll lose. Dumbledore will invoke the blood protection. Say it's the only way to keep Harry safe. And his voice cracks, "I'll go to Azkaban for being here, for being what I am." Lily's face goes white. She understands immediately. Then what do? We disappear. Both of us. Tonight. Take Harry and run so far they never find us. They'll hunt us forever, only if they know we're alive. He sees the moment she understands. Horror and desperate hope war across her face. You want to fake our deaths. Can you think of another option? Lily looks at the crib, at Harry crying and bleeding and alive against all odds. Then she looks back at Severus. How long do we have? Then move. They work with the efficiency of two people who've brewed complex potions under time pressure for years. No wasted words. No hesitation. Severus transfigures two garden rabbits, summoned through the broken window, into crude approximations of human corpses. They're not perfect. They won't hold up under close inspection, but in the chaos and darkness, with enough destruction around them, Lily positions them in the wreckage, one near the crib, one by the door. She uses a cutting curse to add realistic injuries. Severus gathers Harry from the crib. The baby is still crying, the cut on his forehead still bleeding. Severus wraps him in a blanket, holds him awkwardly. He's never held an infant before, and the crying intensifies. Hush, Severus mutters uselessly. Just be quiet for 30 seconds. Vanishing their wand traces, burning away magical signatures, creating just enough additional damage that investigators won't look too closely at the fake corpses. We need to go, Severus says. Now, Lily takes one last look at the nursery, at James lying dead downstairs. Her eyes fill with tears, but she doesn't let them fall. I'm sorry, she whispers to the empty air. To James's ghost, perhaps? I'm so sorry. Then she turns to Severus, jaw set. Where? Spinner's End, my house in Cokeworth. No one knows about it except... He stops. Except people who won't look for us. She nods. Puts one hand on Harry's blanket, one hand on Severus's arm. They disappear. The crack of their departure echoes through the destroyed nursery. 30 seconds later, Sirius Black arrives on his flying motorcycle, face wild with panic. He finds James's body and starts screaming. 2 minutes after that, Albus Dumbledore appears. He examines the scene with ancient, tired eyes, sees the two corpses in the nursery, one adult, one infant, and his shoulders slump. Lily, he says softly. Oh, Lily, what have I done? He doesn't notice that the corpses smell wrong, that their magical signatures are too faint, that they're subtly the wrong shape. He believes what he sees because he has no reason not to. By the time he realizes the truth, it will be too late. Severus's house is exactly as grim as Lily remembers. They materialize in a narrow, dark living room. The walls are stained with damp. The furniture is threadbare. Through grimy windows, she can see the outline of a disused mill, smokestacks black against the pre-dawn sky. Cokeworth, the industrial town where they both grew up, where they first met in the playground, two magical children in a muggle world. It feels like a lifetime ago. Harry is still crying. Severus holds him at arm's length, looking profoundly uncomfortable. Here, Lily says, taking the baby. Harry quiets slightly in her arms, recognizing her scent, her voice. The cut on his forehead has stopped bleeding but remains raw and angry. I need to brew a healing salve, Severus says. He's already moving toward what Lily assumes is the kitchen, and a calming draught. And we need to establish wards, immediately, the kind that make this place invisible to magical detection. Sit down, don't move. If you leave the house before the wards are set, they might trace you. Lily sits on the ancient sofa, cradling Harry. The baby's crying has subsided to hiccuping sobs. She examines the lightning bolt scar on his forehead, touching it gently with her wand. The residue of the killing curse lingers there. Dark magic, vicious and cold. But underneath it, she feels something else. A warmth, a protection she doesn't quite understand. Her love, perhaps. Her sacrifice, even though she survived. The magic doesn't care about death. It cares about intent. She was willing to die for Harry. That's what matters. Severus returns with a smoking cauldron and begins the ward-setting ritual. It takes 3 hours. By the end, he's pale with exhaustion, wand trembling in his hand. Done, he says hoarsely. As of this moment, this house doesn't exist to the magical world. Anyone trying to detect us will find nothing. Not even Dumbledore's tracking spells can penetrate the ward I just created. He collapses into a chair across from her. We're safe, for now. Harry has finally fallen asleep, exhausted from crying. The scar on his forehead looks slightly less angry under the healing salve Severus applied. James is dead, Lily says quietly. Yes, I didn't get to say goodbye. I know. The entire wizarding world thinks I'm dead, thinks Harry is dead. Severus meets her eyes. His expression is carefully neutral, but but she knows him well enough to read the grief underneath. No, he agrees. We can't, so vulnerable. Then we make a new life here, she says. The three of us. And we raise him right. Not as a weapon, not as the boy who lived, just as Harry. You think I can do that? Severus's voice is bitter. Raise James Potter's son? I think you just saved both our lives. I think you risked everything to give Harry a chance. That's more than James ever did for you. It's a harsh truth, but true nonetheless. Severus says nothing for a long moment. Then he has your eyes. What? Lily understands what he's really saying. I can do this if I focus on that. On the parts of him that are you, not James. Then we'll teach him to use them, Lily says, to see the world clearly, to understand magic the way we do. The way we do, Severus repeats. Something almost like a smile crosses his face. You mean combining your charm's brilliance with my potions expertise? We could teach him things no one else knows, innovations no one else has tried, a comprehensive magical education from birth, grieving. But the idea takes root anyway, growing in the space between them. A purpose, a project, a reason to keep going. We'll need money, Severus says practically. I have some savings from my Death Eater days, but not enough to raise a child for 18 years. The Prince Vault, Lily says. Your mother's family, can you access it? Not in person, but I can create a blood-keyed ritual to transfer funds remotely, illegal as hell but untraceable. And I can find a way to convert galleons to pounds. There are always goblins willing to work off the books. We'll need to maintain the poverty aesthetic. If this house suddenly looks prosperous, neighbors will ask questions. So we expand it magically. Inside, it's a proper home. Outside, it stays a ruin. Strategizing, falling into the old rhythm they had as students. Lily's creativity, Severus's precision, both minds working in tandem toward a goal. He'll need a cover story when he's older, Severus says. For the Muggle world, why he lives with us instead of normal parents. Lily thinks about this. We're his aunt and uncle. His parents died in a car crash. We're his only living relatives. People will believe that more readily than the truth. Everything from now on is about what people will believe. We're building a lie we can live in for the next 10 years, at least. The sky outside is growing lighter. Dawn approaching, the first day of their new life. Harry stirs in Lily's arms, making small sleeping sounds. She looks down at him and something fierce and protective surges through her. I won't let them use him, she says quietly. Dumbledore, Voldemort, whoever. I won't let anyone make my son into a weapon. Our son, Severus corrects, so softly she almost doesn't hear. Lily looks up sharply. Severus is staring at Harry, expression unreadable. If we're doing this, he continues, if we're really doing this, raising him together, hiding together, living together, then he's not just yours, he's ours. Otherwise it won't work. It's terrifying and strange, and not at all what Lily imagined when she pictured her life. But James is dead. The life she imagined died with him. This is what remains. Severus Snape, the man who loved her desperately for 16 years, the man who just saved her life, the man offering to help raise her son, knowing that son carries the blood of his worst enemy. Ours, Lily agrees. They don't shake hands. Don't make speeches. Just sit in the gray dawn light, the three of them, and let the weight of the promise settle. Outside, the wizarding world mourns Lily Potter and her infant son. Inside Spinner's End, they're very much alive, and already planning what comes next. Time moves differently in hiding. The first year is the hardest. Severus converts the basement into a potions laboratory, using expansion charms and careful warding. Lily transforms the attic into a library, shelves appearing from thin air, filled with books she summons through careful, untraceable purchases from Muggle secondhand shops, and a few illegal acquisitions from Nocturne Alley using intermediaries. Harry grows, learns to crawl, then walk, then run through the magically expanded rooms that the Muggle neighbors never see. By age 2, he's speaking in full sentences. By 3, he's reading simple texts. By 4, he can identify common potion ingredients by smell. Severus doesn't smile often, but when Harry correctly identifies powdered moonstone versus ground unicorn horn, something that might be pride flickers across his face. Good, Severus says gruffly. Again, watches Severus teaching Harry to read potions, texts the way some fathers teach their sons to throw a ball. It's not the life she imagined, but it's a life. They develop routines. Severus brews in the mornings, potions they can sell through intermediaries to fund their existence. Lily practices charms, developing new variations on old spells, keeping her skills sharp. In the afternoons, they teach Harry together. Magic, Lily explains to a 4-year-old Harry, demonstrating by making colored lights dance between her fingers, is will made visible. You want something to happen, you focus your intent. And the magic responds, like this. Harry scrunches his face in concentration. A toy block across the room wobbles slightly. Exactly like that. You must learn discipline before power. Understand. Yes, sir. Don't call me sir. It makes me feel ancient. Yes, Severus? It sounds wrong. Formal. Distant. Lily intervenes gently. What would you like to call him, Harry? Harry thinks about this seriously. He's 4 years old and already understands that names matter, that relationships have definitions. What do other children call their fathers? The word hangs in the air. Father. Severus goes very still. Lily holds her breath. I'm not your father, Severus says quietly. Your father was James Potter. He died protecting you. But you're here. You teach me things. You take care of us. That doesn't make me Severus. Lily interrupts softly. Let him choose. Severus looks at Harry, at this small boy with messy black hair and green eyes. Lily's eyes, always Lily's eyes, that's what he focuses on, who is looking back with complete trust. You can call me Sev, Severus says finally. If you must call me something. Okay, Sev? It's not father, not dad, but it's not Sir or Professor Snape either. It's something new, something they're building together. Harry is 5 years old when Lily detects the magical surge. She's developed a habit of conducting weekly sweeps of Hogwarts' magical signatures, not because she expects the Ministry to find them, Severus's wards are too good for that, but because they need advance warning if Obliviators or Aurors come to the area for any reason. This Thursday evening, the sweep picks up something massive. Severus, she calls from her workroom. Come look at this. He appears in the doorway, still wearing his brewing apron, hands stained with ingredients. What is it? Accidental magic. About 2 miles from here. Magnitude 8.5, Severus's eyebrows rise. That's significantly above average for a Muggle-born child. 3 times above average, Lily studies her detection charm, a complex web of golden light showing magical signatures across Cokeworth, like stars. One star is blazing much brighter than the others. This is the kind of power that attracts Ministry attention. If the Ministry comes to investigate, they'll scan the entire area. Our wards hide us from casual detection, but a focused Ministry sweep? We'd show up as an anomaly, a blank spot where magical signatures should be. Severus processes this. You're suggesting we investigate first. I'm suggesting we find the source and assess the risk. And if it's just a powerful child having a tantrum, but if it's something more, Lily turns to face him fully. Harry needs peers, Severus. Someone his own age. Someone who understands what it's like to be different. Absolutely not. We're not adopting every magical orphan in Cokeworth. I'm suggesting we adopt anyone. I'm suggesting we look. That's all. She's already won the argument, and they both know it. When Lily gets that particular tone, determined but reasonable, resistance is futile. Fine, Severus says. We look, but we don't approach. Understood. The next day, Lily uses a disillusionment charm and follows the magical signature to its source. The Granger residence is a tidy semi-detached house in a neighborhood slightly nicer than Spinner's End. The brass nameplate reads, Dr. D. Granger, Dr. H. Granger, Dentists. Lily watches for 3 days. She sees the parents, earnest, professional, clearly loving. She sees the daughter, bushy brown hair, overlarge front teeth, carrying books everywhere she goes, and she sees the loneliness. The girl, Hermione, Lily learns from listening to the parents call her, sits alone at the playground. Other children mock her for reading instead of playing, mock her teeth, mock her for knowing too much and sharing it enthusiastically. Hermione doesn't fight back, just buries herself deeper in her books. Lily recognizes that loneliness. She felt it herself before Hogwarts, before she found her place in the magical world. On the 3rd day, Lily witnesses the incident. Hermione is in her bedroom, visible through the window. 3 children are throwing rocks at her window, shouting, Know-it-all, freak! Nobody likes you. Hermione's face crumples. She's trying not to cry. Then, the children's notebooks, scattered on the ground from their backpacks, explode. not physically. But the pages rearrange themselves, homework answers correcting themselves, terrible handwriting transforming into neat script. The children scream and run. Hermione stares at her hands, terrified and exhilarated. Lily's detection charm goes wild, magnitude 9.2. Sustained for 7 seconds. This isn't just accidental magic. This is structured accidental magic. The girl didn't just release power, she shaped it with intent. Book manipulation, organizational magic. That's charms adjacent, advanced charms adjacent. Lily returns to Spinner's End and explains everything. No, Severus says immediately. Absolutely not. She's 7 years old, incredibly powerful, and completely alone. So was I. I survived. You became a Death Eater. It's a low blow, but effective. Severus's face hardens. That's not fair. It's true. You had no one to guide you except people who wanted to use you. This girl, Hermione, she could be extraordinary with the right teaching, or she could be bitter and isolated with the wrong influences. A woman faking her own death, and a former Death Eater? I think we understand what it means to be powerful and alone. I think we can help her. It's too risky. If we make contact with the family, create records, leave traces, what if the Ministry gets there first? Lily challenges. What if someone else finds her? Someone who sees a powerful Muggle-born child and thinks recruitment opportunity? Severus is silent for a long moment. What are you proposing? He asks finally. We watch her for 1 more week. If there's another magical incident, we approach the parents carefully, explain what she is, offer to teach her. And if they refuse, then we leave them alone. But at least we tried. This is a terrible idea. Probably. It's going to complicate everything. Yes, but you're going to do it anyway. Harry needs a friend. Severus. Someone who isn't us. Someone who can share this strange hidden life we're building. Severus looks at her for a long moment, then, grudgingly, 1 week. We watch. If there's another incident of that magnitude, we approach. But I handle the memory charms. I'm not letting you anywhere near the parents' minds with your soft touch. Lily smiles. Deal. 6 days later, Hermione has another incident. This time, she's frustrated by complicated maths homework. The numbers rearrange themselves into the correct solutions while she watches, stunned. Magnitude 8.7. That evening, Lily and Severus apparat to the end of the Grangers street and walk to the front door like normal people. Severus is wearing Muggle clothes, uncomfortable and ill-fitting, but passable. Lily looks perfectly natural in a simple dress. She knocks. Dr. Helen Granger opens the door, looking puzzled. Can I help you? I hope so, Lily says with a warm, non-threatening smile. My name is Lily Evans. This is Severus Snape. We're here to talk to you about your daughter, about what she can do. Helen's expression shifts from puzzled to wary. I don't know what you mean. The books that organize themselves. The homework that corrects itself. The way things move when she's emotional. Lily keeps her voice gentle. Your daughter isn't broken or strange. She's magic, and we can help her. Helen Granger stares at them. Then, slowly, she opens the door wider. You'd better come in. The Granger living room is meticulously organized. Books line the shelves in alphabetical order. The carpet shows fresh vacuum marks. Family photos hang in precise rows. Everything speaks of control, order, professional middle-class respectability. Dr. David Granger sits on the sofa beside his wife, both stiff with tension. Lily and Severus sit across from them in matching armchairs. Magic, David says flatly. You're telling us magic is real. Yes, Lily says. And our daughter is a witch? A very powerful one. Helen Granger's hands twist in her lap. The incidents we've been seeing, the notebooks, the books rearranging themselves, that's been Hermione? Her magic responding to her emotions, Severus explains, voice clinical. Accidental magic is common in young witches and wizards before they receive formal training. Usually it manifests as random bursts of power. Your daughter's manifestations are unusual. Unusual how? David asks sharply. Structured, Lily says. Most magical children her age release power chaotically. Windows shattering, objects levitating randomly. Hermione is already directing her magic towards specific outcomes. That indicates extraordinary natural ability and mental discipline. Severus raises his wand, the Grangers flinch, and with a casual flick transforms the coffee table into a rose bush. Roses bloom, petals unfurling, the scent filling the room. Another flick, and it's a table again. Helen makes a small sound. David's face has gone pale. "That's impossible," he whispers. "No," Lily says gently, "that's magic, and Hermione can learn to do things like that. But only with proper training." "Training from whom?" David's voice sharpens. "Who are you, really? Why do you care about our daughter?" Lily exchanges a glance with Severus. "We're not with any official organization," Lily says carefully. "Normally, magical children receive letters from a school called Hogwarts when they turn 11. They're taught there for 7 years. But Hermione's power is significant. And power that strong, displayed so openly in a Muggle neighborhood, will attract attention from the Ministry of Magic, our government." "What kind of attention?" Helen asks. "The kind that involves memory modification," Severus says bluntly. "Obliviators, magical officials, will come and alter Hermione's memories, possibly yours as well. They'll suppress her magic, make her forget she ever had it, make you forget the incidents ever happened. That's barbaric. That's policy. Magic must be kept secret from the non-magical world. Children who can't control their power are considered security risks. But we can teach her control," Lily says quickly. "Before the ministry comes, give her the foundation she needs to manage her abilities safely. When she receives her Hogwarts letter at age 11, she'll be prepared. More than prepared." David stands abruptly. "This is insane. You walk into our home, tell us our daughter is magical, and expect us to just, what? Hand her over for secret training? We'd never ask you to hand her over. But we can offer lessons, regular sessions where Hermione learns theory, basic control, how to channel her power safely. She'd still live here, still be your daughter, but she'd have the tools she needs. And what do you get out of this?" David challenges. "Nobody does something like this out of pure altruism." Severus speaks before Lily can. "We have a son, 5 years old, also magical, also being raised in hiding for complicated reasons. He needs peers, someone his own age who understands this world." It's the truth, carefully edited. The Grangers don't need to know about Voldemort, about faked deaths, about the larger war that shaped their decision to hide. Helen is looking at her husband. "David, what if they're telling the truth? What if they're not? Then we call the police and have them arrested for breaking and entering. But what if they are? What if Hermione really is magical and we deny her this chance? We don't know these people. We didn't know the headmaster at the boarding school we were considering last year either, but we would have trusted him with Hermione based on reputation and credentials. This is different, is it?" Helen turns to Lily. "You said you have a son. How long have you been teaching him? Though formal lessons started around age 3. And he's progressing well? Before we make any decisions?" Lily hadn't expected this, but it makes sense. The Grangers are dentists, professionals who make careful, informed decisions. They want evidence. "Yes," Lily says. "Would tomorrow afternoon be convenient?" They agree on 2 p.m. The meeting ends with wary politeness. As Lily and Severus walk back down the street toward the apparition point, Severus mutters, "This is a disaster waiting to happen." They want to meet Harry. Do you know how many things can go wrong? Harry is a polite, intelligent 5-year-old. He'll be fine. He accidentally levitated a pot yesterday because he wanted more soup. Then we'll make sure there are no pots present tomorrow. Severus makes an exasperated sound but doesn't argue further. Harry is nervous. Lily has explained the situation carefully. There's a girl his age who might come study with them. Her parents want to meet him first. He needs to be on his best behavior. "What if they don't like me?" Harry asks, fidgeting with his shirt collar. "They'll like you," Lily assures him. "Just be yourself. Answer their questions honestly and try not to do magic accidentally." "I know." The Grangers arrive at 2 p.m. precisely. Lily has magically cleaned and tidied the visible portions of Spinner's End, though the exterior remains determinedly grim. She's brewed tea, set out biscuits, made the space as welcoming as possible. Hermione walks in between her parents, eyes wide, taking in everything. She's wearing a neat dress, her bushy hair pulled back with clips. Harry stares at her. She stares back. "Hello," Harry says politely, exactly as Lily coached him. "I'm Harry. It's nice to meet you." "I'm Hermione," she responds. Then, with the bluntness of a 7-year-old, "Is it true you can do magic?" "Yes." "Can you?" "I think so. I make things happen sometimes. But I don't know how." "I can show you, if you want. Small things." Lily says I'm not allowed to do big magic yet. "Lily?" The adults settle into conversation. Helen and David asking careful questions about curriculum, safety, teaching methods. Lily answers with the patience of someone who expected this interrogation. Meanwhile, Harry and Hermione have migrated to the corner where Harry's toys are scattered. "That's my favorite," Harry says, pointing to a toy dragon. "It doesn't really fly, but sometimes if I focus really hard, I can make it move a little." The toy dragon wobbles, lifts an inch off the ground, then falls. Hermione's eyes light up. "Can I try?" Nothing happens for a long moment. Then, the dragon lifts smoothly into the air, hovers for 3 seconds, and lands gently. Harry's mouth drops open. "You're really good at that?" "I am?" Hermione looks delighted and surprised in equal measure. From across the room, Severus watches this interaction with clinical interest. The girl has strong natural levitation ability. Charms adjacent, precision-based rather than power-based. "She's 7 years old," Lily murmurs back, "and she just performed controlled levitation on her first attempt." The Grangers have noticed too. Helen's expression is complicated, pride mixed with fear, mixed with something like grief. "If we agree to this," Helen says quietly, "if we let you teach her, she'll grow away from us, won't she? She'll become part of a world we can't understand or access." Lily meets her eyes with complete honesty. "Yes, probably. Magic changes people, opens doors most can't see. But she'll still be your daughter, still love you, still need you. But she'll belong to your world more than ours. She already does. The only question is whether she navigates that world alone or with guidance." It's a brutal truth, but Helen seems to appreciate the directness. David watches Harry and Hermione comparing notes on accidental magic incidents they've caused. Harry once turned his bathwater purple. Hermione once made all her mother's medical journals organize themselves by topic. "They're already friends," David observes. "Children adapt quickly," Severus says. "Especially isolated children who've never had peers who understand them." Isolated? By necessity, we can't exactly send him to the local primary school. Why not? The question hangs there. Severus and Lily exchange glances. "Complicated family circumstances," Lily says finally. "We're keeping a low profile." But Helen decides to let it pass. "If we agree," she says, "what would the arrangement look like specifically?" They're negotiating terms, which means they're seriously considering it. 2 sessions per week to start, Lily proposes. Tuesday and Thursday afternoons, 3 hours each. We cover magical theory, basic control exercises, safety protocols. Hermione lives at home, attends her regular school, maintains her normal life. This is supplementary education. And when she turns 11, she receives her Hogwarts letter, attends normally. By then, she'll have 6 years of foundational training. She'll excel. What about costs? Tuition? No charge. David frowns. "That doesn't make sense. Why would you?" "Because Harry needs this as much as Hermione does," Severus interrupts. "Teaching one child is manageable but insular. Teaching 2 creates dialogue, competition, peer learning. We benefit from having a second student. You benefit from having your daughter trained by experts. It's mutually advantageous." It's a clinical explanation that happens to be true. Helen and David confer quietly. Harry and Hermione have moved on to comparing books. Hermione's clearly read far more, but Harry holds his own discussing the ones he knows. Finally, Helen speaks. "We'll agree to a trial period. 3 months. If Hermione is happy, if we see genuine progress, if nothing seems dangerous or inappropriate, we'll continue. And if at any point we want to stop, you stop, no questions asked. She's your daughter." The adults shake hands. The agreement is made. Harry and Hermione, oblivious to the negotiation, are already planning what they'll learn first. "I want to know how to make things float properly," Hermione says. "I want to learn about potions," Harry counters. "Sev makes these amazing colored smokes, and I want to know how. We could learn both." "Yeah." After the Grangers leave, Lily sinks into a chair, exhausted. "Well," she says, "we've done it now. Committed ourselves to teaching a second prodigy while maintaining our complete invisibility to the magical world." Severus agrees. "Brilliant. You could sound less sarcastic, I could, but then I wouldn't be me." Harry appears in the doorway. "Is Hermione coming back?" "Tuesday afternoon," Lily confirms, "for her first lesson." "Good." Harry looks pleased. "She's really smart, and she doesn't think I'm weird for knowing about potions." Lily's heart clenches slightly. Harry so rarely talks about being lonely, but he is. Of course he is. "Go wash up for dinner," she tells him gently. After Harry leaves, Severus says quietly, "This changes our timeline." "I know. Twice the risk of exposure. Also twice the chance of success. If we're going to prepare for Voldemort's eventual return, if we're going to research Horcruxes and build defenses, having two brilliant minds is better than one. You think she's brilliant already? You saw her levitate that dragon. Perfect control on the first attempt. She's going to be extraordinary. Severus doesn't argue. Can't argue. The evidence is clear. Then we train them both, he says. And we train them to be unstoppable. The basement laboratory becomes their primary classroom. Severus stands at the workbench. Harry and Hermione perched on tall stools on either side. Between them, 3 cauldrons simmer with different colored liquids. Potions, Severus says, are chemistry with intent. Muggle chemistry follows fixed laws, combine elements in specific ratios, apply heat, observe reactions. Potions follow the same principles but add a variable, magical intent. The brewer's focus affects the outcome. Hermione's hand shoots up. This isn't school, Miss Granger. You may speak without permission. So if 2 people brew the same potion with the same ingredients and the same method, they might get different results based on their mental state. A calming draught brewed by someone calm will be more potent than one brewed by someone anxious. The magic responds to the brewer. That's fascinating. Hermione's already writing notes in the journal Lily gave her. Harry is less interested in theory. Can we brew something? Not yet. First, you learn to identify ingredients by sight, smell, and magical signature. Severus produces a tray of small glass vials, each containing different substances, powdered moonstone or crushed pearl. Harry leans close, sniffs carefully. Moonstone. The pearl smells sweeter. Correct, Miss Granger. Hermione examines the vials. The moonstone also has a faint silver shimmer in direct light. The pearl is pure white. Excellent observation. You both passed today's identification test. Tomorrow, we begin preparation techniques. In the attic library, Lily teaches charms. Magic, she says, floating colored spheres between her hands, is will made visible. You want something to happen, you focus your intent, and the magic responds. Watch. She concentrates. The spheres begin to orbit each other in complex patterns, leaving trails of light like comets. That's beautiful, Hermione breathes. That's control. Not just making magic happen, but directing it precisely. Harry pulls out his wand. Not a real wand yet, just a practice wand Lily carved from Hollywood. He swishes it awkwardly. Wingardium Leviosa. The feather wobbles but doesn't rise. You're saying the words, but are you feeling the intent? Magic isn't about memorizing incantations. It's about wanting something so clearly that reality has to comply. Harry tries again, focusing harder. This time the feather lifts an inch before dropping. Better. Hermione? Hermione's brow furrows in concentration. Wingardium Leviosa. The feather shoots upward so fast it hits the ceiling. Too much power, Lily says, amused. Try again with more finesse, less force. Hermione practices until she can make the feather dance in controlled spirals. Harry watches, frustrated. Why is she better at this? She's not better, she's different. You're more intuitive. You feel magic rather than analyzing it. Hermione thinks through every step. Different strengths, both valuable. Harry practices levitation for an extra hour that evening until he can match Hermione's control. Both children receive wands early. Lily acquires them through an intermediary, a somewhat shady wizard in Nocturne Alley, who asks no questions and keeps no records. Harry's wand, holly, 11 inches, phoenix feather core. The moment he touches it, warmth floods his arm. The wand chooses him unmistakably. Hermione's wand, vine wood, 10 3/4 inches, dragon heartstring. It vibrates when she grips it, matching her magical frequency perfectly. These are real wands, Harry says, awed. Not practice wands, which means real responsibility. You're years younger than most wizards when they receive their first wand. We're trusting you to use them wisely. We will, Hermione promises seriously. I know, but I had to say it anyway. With proper wands, their education accelerates dramatically. Severus introduces occlumency. The mind, he says, is not an impenetrable fortress. Skilled wizards can read thoughts, extract memories, even plant false ones. This is called legilumency, the art of organizing and protecting your mind. How? Harry asks. Imagine your mind as a library. Every thought is a book. Every memory is on a shelf. When someone tries to invade your mind, they're looking for specific books. Your job is to misdirect them, Show them irrelevant books. Hide the important ones. Hermione grasps the concept immediately. Within 3 months, she can maintain basic shields against Severus's gentle legilimency probes. Harry struggles. His mind is more chaotic, less organized, and there's interference, something in his scar that makes concentration difficult. "I can't do it," Harry says, frustrated after a particularly difficult session. "You can," Severus says firmly, "but you need a different approach. Stop trying to organize your thoughts. Instead, feel them. Emotions are harder to read than thoughts. If you can wrap your important memories in emotional layers, they become harder to access." It's the opposite of what Severus teaches Hermione, but it works for Harry. He learns to shield, not through structure, but through emotional complexity. Lily watches these lessons with interest. "You're teaching them differently." Because they are different. Hermione's mind works like a filing cabinet. Harry's works like a storm. I teach to their strengths, not against them. It's good pedagogy. It's also the first sign that Severus is thinking of Harry as an individual, not as James Potter's son. By age 10, both children have achieved competency that would impress any WT-level students. A demonstration. Harry and Hermione duel Severus in the expanded basement. 3 minutes, Severus announces. Non-lethal curses only. Begin. He attacks immediately, a rapid-fire combination of stunners and disarming charms that would overwhelm most adult wizards. Harry and Hermione have learned to fight as a unit. Harry dives left, Hermione right, forcing Severus to split his attention. Hermione casts a Protean-linked binding hex, a spell she learned from studying advanced charms texts. The hex splits into 2 copies that attack from different angles. Severus dodges both, but Harry's follow-up Jellylegs Jinx, modified to bypass standard shields using a technique from Lily's experimental notes, connects. Severus stumbles. For half a second, he's vulnerable. Then he retaliates with a potions-based smoke spell, a Half-Blood Prince invention from his student days. The basement fills with opaque purple vapor. Harry and Hermione lose visual contact. Hominum Revelio, Hermione casts, her voice amplified by a sonorous charm. The spell reveals Severus's position through the smoke. Stupefy, Harry aims at where Hermione indicated. Severus blocks, but the effort costs him. He counters with legilimency, attempting to read Harry's next move. Harry's occlumency shields hold. Barely, but they hold. Final exchange. Severus casts Levicorpus. Harry and Hermione simultaneously cast a counter-levitation spell Lily invented specifically for practice duels. The spells collide. Magical energy crackles between them. Stalemate. Time, Severus calls. The 3 of them lower their wands, breathing hard. Adequate, Severus says. Harry grins. Just adequate? You telegraphed your stunning spell. Hermione's binding hex was predictable. I've seen her use it 4 times. And you both relied too heavily on combination attacks instead of individual capability. But we held you to a stalemate, Hermione points out. Against me holding back significantly, yes. Against a real opponent with lethal intent? Severus shakes his head. You'd be dead. Obviously. Later in private, Severus tells Lily, they're extraordinary, both of them. Harry's intuition combined with Hermione's analysis creates a tactical synergy I haven't seen since. Since us? Lily finishes softly. Yes, since us. They're standing in the library, surrounded by books they've collected over 10 years. Lily looks at him, really looks at him, and sees how much he's changed. The bitter, angry man who saved her at Godric's Hollow is still there, underneath. But he's buried under layers of purpose and pride and something that might almost be contentment. You love them, Lily says. Not a question. Severus doesn't answer immediately. Then, I love teaching them. There's a difference. Is there? Instead, she changes the subject. We need to talk about Horcruxes. Severus goes very still. What about them? Voldemort made them. Multiple ones almost certainly. That's how he survived at Godric's Hollow. He can't truly die until they're destroyed. How long have you known this? I've suspected since 1982. I've been researching for the last 8 years. I think Lily pulls out a worn journal filled with her notes. I think Harry might be carrying one, in his scar. Severus's face goes white. What? The scar won't heal. It causes him pain occasionally. And his occlumency struggles. There's something interfering with his mental discipline. All signs point to a soul fragment anchored in the wound. If you're right, if there's a piece of Voldemort's soul in Harry, which means we need to understand Horcruxes completely. Their creation, their destruction, their nature. I know, but if we're going to protect Harry, really protect him, we need to understand what we're fighting. Severus absorbs this. You want to include the children in this research. They're 10 years old. They're already working at any WT level. They can handle advanced magical theory. This isn't theory, this is the darkest magic in existence, which is exactly why we need to study it, together, as a family. The word family hangs between them. Severus looks at her for a long moment. Then, very well, but we introduce the concept carefully. No practical experiments, pure research only. Agreed. That evening they gather in the library, all four of them. Lily explains what Horcruxes are, what they suspect about Voldemort, what they fear about Harry's scar. Harry touches his forehead unconsciously. There's a piece of him in me? Possibly. We're not certain, but we need to prepare for that possibility. How do we get it out? We don't know yet. That's what we're researching. Hermione is already thinking tactically. If Voldemort made multiple Horcruxes, we need to find and destroy all of them before he can return fully. That gives us a timeline, a mission. Harry and Hermione exchange glances. Then, simultaneously, we're in. Severus feels something crack in his chest, a wall he didn't know he'd built. These children, these brilliant, brave, ridiculous children who just committed themselves to hunting pieces of the Dark Lord's soul, his children. The realization should terrify him. Instead, it settles over him like a cloak. Then we begin tomorrow, Severus says. But understand this, Horcrux research is dangerous. The information alone can corrupt. We proceed carefully. We check each other for signs of obsession or dark influence, and we never attempt to create one. Agreed? Agreed. All three say. They're a family now, bound not by blood, but by purpose. And in September 1991, they're going to walk back into the magical world together, ready to change everything. King's Cross Station, platform 9 3/4. Harry and Hermione stand side by side, wearing nondescript robes, trunks at their feet. They're 11 and 12, respectively, but they carry themselves like adults. 10 years of intensive training does that. Remember the plan, Lily had said that morning. Board separately, sit together, keep your heads down. No demonstrations of advanced magic. You're just two students attending Hogwarts for the first time. And if anyone asks about your families, orphans, Harry supplied, raised by distant relatives. It's close enough to true. Parents hugging children, siblings running around, normal magical families with normal magical lives. They've never had that, won't ever have that, but they have each other. Ready? Harry asks. Ready, Hermione confirms. They board the train separately as planned. Harry finds an empty compartment near the middle. Hermione joins him 2 minutes later. A red-haired boy pokes his head in. Can I sit here? Everywhere else is full. Hermione says politely but firmly, sorry. The boy, Ron Weasley, Harry recognizes from descriptions, looks disappointed but leaves. That was a bit harsh, Harry observes after Ron's gone. We can't afford friends yet. Not until we know how the Hogwarts political landscape works. Making allies before understanding the factions is tactically unsound. Harry grins. You've been reading Severus's strategy books again. They're good books. The train ride passes quietly. They review their notes, discuss potential sorting outcomes. Hermione thinks they'll both be Ravenclaw. Harry's less certain, and prepare for what comes next. The Great Hall that evening is exactly as described in Hogwarts. A history. Candles floating in mid-air, enchanted ceiling showing the night sky, 4 long tables beneath house banners. Professor McGonagall calls names alphabetically. Granger, Hermione. Hermione walks to the stool calmly. The sorting hat settles over her bushy hair. Inside her mind, the hat's voice, extraordinary, brilliant intellect, thirst for knowledge, but also loyalty, courage. You've been trained for war, child. Where do you belong? Where I can learn, Hermione thinks back. Where knowledge is valued above all. Ravenclaw, the hat shouts. Polite applause. Hermione joins the Ravenclaw table, sitting near the end. More names. Harry waits patiently through the P's. Potter, Harry. The hall goes silent, then erupts. Harry Potter? The Harry Potter? Harry walks to the stool as if he's walking through a library, calm, focused, unbothered by the stares. The hat settles over his messy black hair. Ah, the hat says, Harry Potter, the boy who lived. Except, you're not at all what I expected. No, you've been trained, rigorously. You know occlumency, advanced magic, combat tactics. You're not the naive child Dumbledore expected to arrive. Where have you been? Hidden. Learning. Preparing. For what? For when Voldemort returns. He's not truly dead. We know that. We've been researching. Fascinating. You could go anywhere. Gryffindor for your courage, Slytherin for your cunning, Ravenclaw for your training. I need to be with Hermione. Ravenclaw, the hat announces. More shocked whispers. The boy who lived in Ravenclaw, not Gryffindor? Harry joins Hermione at the Ravenclaw table. They exchange small smiles. Phase 1 complete. The sorting continues. When it finishes, Dumbledore stands to give his speech. Welcome to another year at Hogwarts. I have a few start-of-term notices to give you. He's mid-sentence when the great hall doors open. Lily Evans and Severus Snape walk in, side by side, very much alive. Dead silence. Every person in the hall, students, staff, ghosts, stares in complete shock. Lily is wearing elegant green robes. Her red hair is pulled back in a simple braid. She looks exactly as she did in photographs from before her death, preserved by 10 years of magical maintenance and freedom from public stress. Severus is in his customary black expression neutral, but his presence is commanding. They walk the length of the hall together, stop in front of the staff table. Dumbledore is frozen, wand half raised, face white. Headmaster, Lily says. Her voice carries perfectly in the shocked silence. I apologize for the dramatic entrance, but I believe you have openings in charms and potions. Lily, Dumbledore whispers, you were dead. I saw the house, the bodies. I thought you saw what we wanted you to see. We needed to disappear. To protect my son, she glances toward the Ravenclaw table where Harry is watching with careful neutrality. It seems that protection is no longer necessary, so we're returning. Snape is a Death Eater, Lucius Malfoy's voice calls from the crowd of ministry officials attending the feast. He should be arrested immediately. Was a Death Eater, Severus corrects coldly. Past tense. I've spent 10 years raising Lily's son and teaching magical theory to 2 exceptional students. I believe that constitutes sufficient penance for my crimes. You can't just walk back into Hogwarts after a decade and expect... Can't I? Lily's voice sharpens. I'm one of the most talented charms practitioners of my generation. Severus is a potions master without peer. And we've just spent 10 years developing teaching methods that produce 2 11-year-olds with any WT-level competency. I'd say our credentials are solid. Dumbledore recovers his composure, though his hands still tremble slightly. Perhaps we should discuss this in my office. After the feast. We'll wait? Lily and Severus move to stand against the side wall, not sitting at the staff table but clearly not leaving either. The feast proceeds in shocked, whispered chaos. At the Ravenclaw table, a girl leans toward Hermione. Did you know that they were alive? Yes, Hermione says simply. How? We've been living with them for 5 years. They're our teachers. The girl's eyes go huge. You wait. You're the other student Professor Potter mentioned. The one they trained? Yes. Word spreads like wildfire. By the time dessert appears, everyone knows Harry Potter and Hermione Granger were raised in secret by Lily Potter and Severus Snape, trained privately, sent to Hogwarts with any WT-level skills at age 11. The whispers are a mix of awe, suspicion, and fascination. Harry and Hermione ignore them. They're used to being different, being stared at. What matters is what happens next. After the feast, Lily and Severus ascend to the headmaster's office. Dumbledore sits behind his desk, looking every one of his 110 years. Fawkes perches nearby, watching with intelligent eyes. Sit, Dumbledore says quietly. They sit. Long silence. Then, why? Dumbledore asks. Why fake your deaths? Why hide for 10 years? Why raise Harry in secret? You would have invoked the blood protection and used my sister's home as a prison, and Harry would have grown up abused, ignorant, controllable. The blood protection is still active. I'm alive. Harry carries my blood. The protection is anchored in our bond, not Petunia's grudging acceptance. We've developed a ward system that renders us undetectable while maintaining the core protective magic. Dumbledore's eyes sharpen. That should be impossible. It's extremely difficult, Severus says. But we had 10 years and significant motivation. The ward holds. And what about Voldemort? He's not truly dead. You must know that. We do. We've been researching Horcruxes. Dumbledore goes very still. How do you know that term? Severus suspected, Lily says. I confirmed through research. We know Voldemort split his soul, we know he'll return eventually, and we've been preparing. Preparing how? By raising 2 children who can fight him, not as pawns, not as sacrifices, but as equals. Harry and Hermione are both NEWD- level in multiple subjects, both trained in occlumency, combat magic, advanced theory. When Voldemort returns, and he will return, they'll be ready. You've turned them into soldiers. We've turned them into survivors, Lily counters. There's a difference. Dumbledore looks at her for a long moment. What do you want, Lily? We'll instruct students, maintain our cover, and continue Harry and Hermione's education openly instead of in hiding. And in return, you never, ever try to use Harry in your greater good schemes again. No manipulation, no plans that treat him as a game piece. He's our son. We protect him. That's non-negotiable. You realize I'm headmaster. I have authority. You have authority over the school, Severus interrupts, not over Harry's guardianship. Lily is his mother. I'm his legal guardian through a decade of de facto custodianship. You have no claim. It's true, and Dumbledore knows it. The Ministry will investigate, Dumbledore warns. They'll want answers about where you've been, why you faked your deaths. Let them investigate. We have our story prepared. Went into hiding to protect Harry from Death Eater reprisals, maintained secrecy through advanced ward work. Returned now because we judged the threat reduced enough to resume normal lives. They'll never believe, they'll believe what the evidence shows. And the evidence shows 2 highly skilled educators with no criminal records and a decade of successful teaching experience. Are you going to reject our applications, Headmaster? Dumbledore is trapped. Refusing them would look petty and vindictive. Accepting them means surrendering control over Harry's education and development. But there's also opportunity here. If Lily and Severus are at Hogwarts, Dumbledore can observe them, learn what they know, possibly guide them back toward his plans for defeating Voldemort. Very well, Dumbledore says finally. You may teach, on a provisional basis. 1 year, if there are any issues, any at all, the arrangement ends. Severus Snape stands at the front of the first-year potions classroom, exactly as imposing as students expected. Black robes billow, expression severe, voice cutting. You are here to learn the subtle science and exact art of potion making, he begins. As there is little foolish wand-waving here, many of you will hardly believe this is magic. I don't expect you will really understand the beauty of the softly simmering cauldron with its shimmering fumes, the delicate power of liquids that creep through human veins, bewitching the mind, ensnaring the senses. The speech is mesmerizing. Students lean forward despite themselves. Then Severus's eyes land on Harry Potter. Mr. Potter, our new celebrity. Everyone's heard the rumors. Potter was raised by Professor Snape and the new charms professor. But no one knows what their relationship actually is. Tell me, what would I get if I added powdered root of asphodel to an infusion of wormwood? Harry doesn't hesitate. The draught of living death, sir. A powerful sleeping potion. That's NEWT- level material. Correct? 5 points to Ravenclaw. Severus's expression doesn't change. Where would you look if I told you to find me a bezoar? It's a universal antidote to most poisons. And the difference between monkshood and wolfsbane? They're the same plant, sir, also called aconite. Highly poisonous but essential in the wolfsbane potion. 10 points to Ravenclaw for knowing what you should know. Severus turns to the rest of the class. Why aren't you all writing this down? Hermione's hand is up. Miss Granger? Sir, you mentioned the wolfsbane potion that's used to allow werewolves to retain their minds during transformation, correct? But the brewing process is extremely difficult. Only a handful of potioneers can make it successfully. Correct. 20 points to Ravenclaw for additional research. That's not fair. You're giving all the points to Ravenclaw because Potter and Granger are my students, Severus finishes coldly. As you all are. The difference is that Mr. Potter and Miss Granger have studied for years before arriving at Hogwarts. They know the material. If you wish to earn similar points, I suggest you apply similar effort. Life is unfair, Mr. Malfoy. Magic doubly so. Some are born to wealth and privilege. He looks at Draco pointedly. Some are born with natural talent. Some work harder than everyone else. The only question is, what will you do with what you have? The lesson continues. Severus teaches with exacting precision, correcting mistakes before they happen, explaining theory most first years don't encounter until third year. Harry and Hermione work together at their shared station, moving with practiced efficiency. They've brewed this particular potion, cure for boils, dozens of times. They finish 15 minutes early with a perfect result. Severus inspects their cauldron. Adequate. You rushed the final stir. Yes, sir, Harry says. I felt the consistency change and compensated, but the timing was off by 3 seconds. Which would matter in a more volatile potion. 5 points from Ravenclaw for cutting corners. Students stare. He just took points from his own, whatever Harry is to him. After class, Draco corners Harry in the corridor. Think you're special, Potter? Getting private lessons from Snape, walking in here like you own the place? I don't think I'm special, Harry says calmly. I just studied harder than you. You were probably raised in the dark arts. My father died protecting me. Severus left the Death Eaters 10 years ago, and we study all magic, dark, light, and everything between. Knowledge doesn't have morality. People do. You're a freak, Potter. You and that mudblood Granger, both? Harry's wand is out before Draco finishes the word. Don't, Harry says quietly. Don't use that word. Other students form a circle, sensing a confrontation. Then Hermione is there. Harry, not worth it. Harry slowly lowers his wand, but something in his eyes makes Draco step back. We should duel properly, Draco says, trying to recover his dignity. Officially, let everyone see if you're as good as you think you are. Fine, Harry says. Name the time and place. After dinner, the unused dungeon near the potions classroom. Unless you're scared. Draco leaves, followers trailing behind. That was stupid, Hermione says once they're alone. You let him provoke you. So? It's just a word. We can't afford to make enemies this early. We can't afford to let people think we're weak either. Harry's jaw sets. Severus always said, establish dominance early or spend years fighting for respect. I'm not spending 7 years at Hogwarts proving I deserve to be here. Hermione sighs. Then I'm coming with you. Partners. Remember. That evening, they tell Severus and Lily about the planned duel. Severus's response, good. You need to demonstrate your capabilities early. It'll save trouble later. Lily's response, absolutely not. You're not dueling another first year in a dungeon like some kind of back alley fight. They argue. Eventually compromise on, the duel can happen but it must be supervised. Severus will referee. Lily will observe. And it will be a proper educational demonstration, not a street brawl. The unused dungeon near the potions classroom is larger than expected. Word has spread. By the time Harry and Hermione arrive, 40 students crowd the walls. Draco stands in the center, flanked by Crabbe and Goyle. Severus is already there, wand in hand. Since you're all so eager to watch 2 first-years hex each other, we'll make this educational. This is a formal demonstration duel. Rules. No unforgivables, no permanent harm, no targeting anyone except your declared opponent. First to yield or be rendered unable to continue loses. Clear? Everyone nods. Mr. Malfoy, you issued the challenge. State your terms. Potter duels me. 1-on-1. No interference from Granger. Mr. Potter? Different terms, Harry says. Hermione and I duel Severus. 3 minutes. If we last the full 3 minutes without being completely incapacitated, we win. If Severus defeats us both before time expires, Draco wins by proxy. Shocked silence. You want to duel a professor? Draco's voice climbs an octave. I want to show what proper training looks like. Severus taught us. Let's demonstrate his teaching methods. Every eye turns to Severus. He could refuse, should refuse. This is wildly inappropriate by Hogwarts standards. But he sees what Harry's doing, establishing that they're not just advanced students, but completely outside the normal hierarchy, making it clear that challenging them is pointless because they operate on a different level entirely. It's manipulative, clever, exactly what Severus would do. Very well, Severus says. 3 minutes, non-lethal magic only. Begin when ready. Harry and Hermione take positions on opposite sides of the room. Severus stands in the center, relaxed, wand loose in his hand. Begin, Lily says from the doorway. Severus attacks immediately. Rapid-fire stunners, 3 in succession, each aimed at a different target. Harry dodges, Hermione shields. The spell patterns are complex, forcing them apart. But they've trained for this. Harry casts while moving Impedimenta. The jinx forces Severus to sidestep. Hermione uses the opening. Protego Maxima. A shimmering dome of protection appears around her position. Severus retaliates with a potion smoke spell. Purple vapor fills the dungeon, obscuring vision. Students can barely see what's happening. Just flashes of light through smoke, the crack of spells colliding. Harry casts a point me variant Lily invented, one that detects magical signatures instead of cardinal directions. He sees Severus's outline through the smoke. There, he shouts to Hermione. She modifies her shield into a reflective surface. Harry's next stunner bounces off it, redirecting towards Severus from an unexpected angle. Severus blocks, but the tactic surprises him. Clever. Hermione emerges from smoke, casting a binding hex with protean modification. It splits into 3 strands that attack from different angles. Severus destroys 2 strands with cutting curses. The third wraps around his wand arm. For half a second he's restricted. Harry doesn't waste it. Expelliarmus, the disarming charm, deflects. Then Severus goes on full offensive. He casts Levicorpus non-verbally. Harry is jerked into the air by his ankle. Hermione counters with the anti-levitation spell Lily developed. Harry drops, rolls, comes up casting. Severus blocks, counters. The pace accelerates. Watching students can barely follow. This isn't first-year magic. This isn't even any WD- level. This is combat. At 2 minutes 40 seconds, Severus casts a combination spell. Stunner merged with a silencing charm using the resonance casting technique he and Lily developed. It catches Harry's shield at an angle, partially penetrates. Harry staggers, mouth opening but no sound emerging. Hermione immediately casts Finite. Harry's voice returns. Severus presses advantage, drives them backward with sustained spell pressure. 10 seconds left. Harry and Hermione exchange looks. They've practiced this final move for months, but never used it in actual combat. Simultaneously, Protego Horribilis, their shields merge, a technique that shouldn't be possible for first years, combining their magical signatures into a single layered defense. Severus's next 3 spells splash harmlessly against the joint shield. Time, Lily calls. The shields drop. Harry and Hermione are sweating, breathing hard but standing. Still conscious, still capable. Severus lowers his wand. Adequate performance. You both telegraphed your combination attacks. Harry, your footwork was sloppy in the second minute. Hermione, you relied too heavily on shields instead of counter-offense. But we lasted, Harry says. You survived against me holding back significantly. Against a real opponent with lethal intent, you would have died at the 90-second mark when Harry was silenced. So we practice more. Obviously. Severus turns to the watching students. This is what proper magical education produces. Not rote memorization, not following recipes blindly. Active engagement with theory, constant practice, tactical thinking. If any of you want to reach this level, you know what's required. Work. He leaves. Lily follows after giving Harry and Hermione a look that promises a conversation later about appropriateness. The students are silent. Then someone starts clapping. Others join. Within seconds, the room erupts in applause. Draco looks ill. He turns and leaves without another word. Harry and Hermione accept the congratulations briefly, then extract themselves from the crowd. Walking back to Ravenclaw Tower, Hermione says, "That was reckless. It was necessary. Everyone was wondering if we deserved the reputation. Now they know. They also know we're targets. Every ambitious student is going to want to test themselves against us. Let them. We'll handle it." Later in the library, Lily finds them. "That was dangerous," she says, without preamble. "We were fine. This time. But you revealed capabilities you should have kept hidden. Strategy 101. Never show your full strength unless absolutely necessary." "We didn't show full strength," Harry counters. "We showed enough to establish credibility. There are at least 6 techniques we didn't use." Lily looks at them both, these children she's raised, trained, shaped, and sees the strategic thinking, the tactical awareness, the absolute confidence. She's proud and terrified. "Just be careful," she says finally. "You're not invincible, no matter how well trained. We know," Hermione says, "but we also know we can't hide what we are. Better to control the narrative than let others define us." Harry and Hermione return to Hogwarts for their second year with new purpose. Over the summer at Spinner's End, they made significant progress on Horcrux research. They've identified theoretical destruction methods, basilisk venom, fiend fire, certain dark curses. They understand the process of creation, though they'll never attempt it. and they've developed detection spells that might identify Horcruxes in proximity. "We need to be ready," Lily said during their final training session before term started. "If Voldemort left Horcruxes hidden, they'll start manifesting, drawing power, seeking hosts." "How do we find them?" Harry asked. "We watch for signs. Unexplained magical incidents, students behaving strangely, objects with unusual magical signatures. Ginny Weasley, Ron's younger sister, a first-year Gryffindor, is acting oddly. Memory gaps, exhaustion, ink stains on her hands, but no visible source. She's being possessed," Hermione tells Harry. "Something's draining her magic. They don't tell any adults. Not yet. First, they investigate. Hermione befriends Ginny casually, sits near her in the library, observes. Within a week, she spots it. A shabby black diary that Ginny keeps hidden, but writes in constantly. The diary writes back. "That's not normal," Hermione reports to Harry. "I've read about interactive journals, but they're rare and expensive. A first-year Weasley wouldn't have one, and the magical signature is wrong. It feels old, dark, hungry. Horcrux? Possibly. They consult Lily and Severus that evening. A diary that writes back and drains the owner's magic," Severus says slowly. "That matches Tom Riddle's Horcrux methodology. He was always vain, always wanted followers. A diary that presents itself as a sympathetic friend, gradually possessing the writer." "How do we get it?" Harry asks. "Carefully," Lily says. "If it is a Horcrux and it realizes we're hunting it, it might accelerate the possession, take Ginny completely before we can intervene." "So we steal it," Hermione says. "Simple theft. Ginny's dormitory at night. I can cast a sleep charm, take the diary, replace it with a convincing fake using transfiguration. And then, don't give it time to activate defenses or call for help." The theft happens 3 days later. Hermione executes it perfectly, replacing the diary with a transfigured replica that will fool casual inspection for at least a week. The real diary sits on Severus's desk in the potions office, warded 6 ways from Sunday. "It's definitely a Horcrux," Severus confirms after examining it with detection spells. "I can feel the soul fragment, unstable, malevolent. This is definitely Riddle's work. How do we destroy it?" Harry asks. Lily has been researching. Basilisk venom is the most reliable method. Destroys Horcruxes completely, irreversibly. "But we don't have access to a basilisk. Can we create basilisk venom?" Hermione asks. "Synthesize it through potions?" "No. The venom's destructive properties come from the creature, not just chemical composition. We'd need the real thing. Then we conjure a basilisk," Harry says. Everyone stares at him. "Conjure a basilisk," Severus repeats. "A creature that can kill with a glance and whose venom is one of the most dangerous substances in existence. A temporary conjuration. Small, controlled. Just long enough to extract venom. Actually possible. Theoretically, conjured creatures are less dangerous than real ones because they're not truly alive. A conjured basilisk wouldn't have the full lethality of a real one." "But it would have functional venom?" Hermione asks. "It should. The magical properties would transfer even if the creature is temporary. It's NEWD-level magic at minimum, requiring precise visualization and sustained power. Finally, they're ready. In the potions laboratory, heavily warded, they perform the spell. Serpensortia basiliscus Lily casts, modifying the standard snake summoning charm with specific parameters. A small basilisk materializes, only 2 feet long, eyes closed, fangs visible. Severus quickly extracts venom using specialized equipment. The basilisk disperses after 90 seconds, unsustained. They have 1 vial of venom. It should be enough. Harry opens the diary to a random page, writes, "Hello." The diary writes back, "Hello, Harry Potter. I've been waiting to meet you, so it knows who he is. Interesting." Harry writes, "Tom Riddle, you know me. How delightful. We have much to discuss." Now, Severus says. Hermione holds the diary open. Harry uncorks the venom vial, pours it directly onto the pages. The diary screams, not audibly, magically, a psychic shriek that makes all 4 of them stagger. The pages writhe, smoke, dissolve. Ink turns to blood-like substance that sizzles and evaporates. Then, silence. The diary is destroyed, reduced to a smoking, ruined husk. Harry touches his scar. For a moment it burned, but now the pain recedes. 1 down, he says. At least 5 more to find. Severus responds. possibly 6. We'll find them, Lily says. Together. 2 weeks later, Ginny Weasley approaches Harry in the corridor. I wanted to thank you, she says quietly. I don't know what happened, but I've been feeling better since mid-October. Like something that was draining me is gone. I'm glad you're feeling better, Harry says neutrally. Did you do something? I heard you and Hermione are really advanced. If something was wrong with me and you fixed it, Harry considers lying, then decides on partial truth. Something was affecting you. It's been dealt with. You're safe now. What was it? Something dark, something old. Don't worry about it anymore. Ginny looks like she wants to press, but something in Harry's expression stops her. Thank you, she says again. After she leaves, Hermione appears from around the corner. Think she'll figure it out, Hermione asks. Eventually, she's smarter than people give her credit for, but by then it won't matter. The Horcrux is destroyed. She's safe. That's what counts. They return to Ravenclaw Tower, to their studies, to the ongoing research. One Horcrux destroyed without fanfare. No chamber opening. No battle with a basilisk. No heroic rescue. Just competent identification, careful planning, and efficient execution. Exactly how Severus and Lily taught them to handle problems. The front page of the Daily Prophet shows a skeletal man with wild eyes. Sirius Black escapes Azkaban. Mass murderer at large. Ministry warns public. Lily reads the article 3 times, then shows it to Severus. He's coming here, she says. Undoubtedly. He knows you're alive now. He'll want answers. He'll want to kill you. Also probable. Severus, I'm not leaving. This is our home. If Black wants confrontation, he'll get one. But when Sirius Black finally infiltrates Spinner's End, 3 weeks after his escape, skeletal and desperate, he doesn't attack. He just stares at Lily, tears streaming down his wasted face. You're alive, he whispers. You're really alive. Sirius, Lily says gently. Sit down before you collapse. He does, boneless with shock and exhaustion. Harry and Hermione watch from the doorway. This is the first time they've seen Sirius, the man who's technically Harry's godfather, who spent 12 years in Azkaban for crimes he didn't commit. I didn't betray James, Sirius says hoarsely. I swear on my magic I didn't betray him. It was Peter. Peter was secret keeper. He sold you to Voldemort. I went after him and he killed those muggles, faked his death, framed me. We know, Lily says. Sirius's head snaps up. What? We know Peter was secret keeper. We know he framed you. We figured it out years ago. Then why didn't you? His voice breaks. Why didn't you clear my name? I was in Azkaban for 12 years. Officially, if we'd revealed ourselves to clear you, we'd have exposed Harry to every Death Eater looking for revenge. Your freedom wasn't worth his life. You bastard. He's right, Lily interrupts. Sirius, I'm sorry. But Harry's safety came first. Always. You were in Azkaban, but you were alive. We chose to protect the living child over the imprisoned adult. It's brutal honesty. Sirius looks like she's slapped him. But then he looks at Harry, really looks at him, and sees a healthy, well-educated, confident 12-year-old. Not the traumatized orphan he expected. Not James's son being raised by muggles who hated magic. A child who's been loved and taught and protected. You raised him, Sirius says to Severus. You actually raised James's son. I raised Lily's son, Severus corrects. There's a difference. Does he know about his father? I know, Harry speaks for the first time. I know my father was brave. I know he died protecting me. I know he and Severus hated each other. I know all of it. Sirius studies Harry, sees Lily's green eyes and James's face, sees something else too. A composure, a tactical awareness that's pure Severus Snape. You really did it, Sirius says wonderingly. You actually merged Potter and Snape into one kid. We raised him together, Lily says firmly, not as James's heir or Severus's project, as our son. I need to clear my name, Sirius says, properly, through the ministry. I can't keep running forever. We can help with that, Hermione speaks up. Everyone turns to look at her. Veritaserum testimony. If you testify under truth serum, explain what really happened. The ministry has to acknowledge it. They'd never give me a trial. They would if Lily Potter publicly demands it, Hermione continues. She's the widow of the man you allegedly betrayed. If she says she believes you're innocent and demands a proper trial, the ministry can't refuse without looking corrupt. Lily considers this. It would work. There's still the problem of Peter, Severus points out. We need to prove he's alive. Testimony isn't enough without physical evidence. He's been hiding as Ron Weasley's rat for 12 years. We know he's there. We just need to prove it. Lily contacts the Ministry, demanding a formal hearing for Sirius Black, claims new evidence has emerged, uses her status as the boy who lives mother, and her recent return from the dead to force attention. Meanwhile, Harry and Hermione befriend Ron properly, earn his trust, gain access to his pet rat Scabbers. The capture happens in mid-August. Ron brings Scabbers to Spinner's End for a veterinary check. Hermione convinced him the rat looked ill. The moment the rat enters the house, Severus's wards activate, trapping it. They force transformation using a specialized charm. Peter Pettigrew materializes, screaming, trying to escape. Severus stuns him, binds him, prepares Veritaserum. The hearing happens 3 days later. The full Wizengamot assembles. Lily testifies. Sirius testifies under Veritaserum. Peter is questioned under Truth Serum and confesses everything: the betrayal, the murders, the framing, the years hiding as a rat. Sirius Black is cleared of all charges. Peter Pettigrew is sentenced to Azkaban for life. After the hearing, Sirius joins them at Spinner's End. He's still gaunt, still bearing Azkaban's scars, but free. "Thank you," he says to all of them. "I know I wasn't the priority. I know you had reasons for the choices you made. But thank you for caring enough to help now. You're Harry's godfather," Lily says. "Family. Of course we helped." "What happens now?" Sirius asks. "Now we prepare," Severus says. "Voldemort will return eventually. When he does, we need to be ready. That means hunting Horcruxes, building defenses, training. I can help. I was an Auror before everything. I know combat magic, tactical planning. We could use another teacher," Lily admits. "Someone to train Harry and Hermione in areas we're weaker in." "Marauder tactics," Sirius offers. "Guerrilla magic, the kind of fighting that kept James and me alive during the First War." But he nods grudgingly. "Your expertise would be useful. It's not friendship, won't ever be friendship, but it's alliance." The fixed trio becomes the fixed quartet, and Spinner's End transforms from a hiding place into a war council. The Goblet of Fire spits out Harry Potter's name. The Great Hall erupts in chaos. "He's too young. He didn't enter. This is ridiculous." Dumbledore calls for calm. Barty Crouch confirms the magical contract is binding. Harry must compete. But then the goblet flares again. Hermione Granger. Dead silence. Crouch examines the parchment, face pale. This has never happened. The goblet selected 2 champions from the same school. Because someone tampered with it, Severus says coldly from the staff table. Someone entered both their names under a 4th school to bypass the age restriction. "Regardless," Crouch says, "the magical contract is binding. Both Mr. Potter and Miss Granger must compete." Lily stands. Then they compete as a team. The tournament rules don't specify individual competition. If the goblet selected them both, they work together. That's unprecedented. So is selecting 2 champions from one school. We're in unprecedented territory. Let them compete together or release them from the contract entirely. The judges confer, eventually agree. Harry and Hermione may compete as a paired team. It's exactly what whoever tampered with the goblet didn't want. They wanted Harry isolated, vulnerable, easy to manipulate. Instead, he has his partner. November brings the Dragon Challenge. Harry and Hermione face a Hungarian horntail, the most aggressive breed. They have to retrieve a golden egg from her nest while she guards it. They've prepared for weeks. Dragons have 3 weaknesses, Severus taught them. Eyes, wings, and temperature regulation. Target those. The task begins. The horntail roars, breathing fire. Hermione casts Aguamenti Maxima, a jet of water, far more powerful than a standard water conjuring charm, strikes the dragon's face. The horntail rears back, momentarily blinded. Harry uses the opening to conjuration flock of metal birds. Conjuration magic Lily taught them. The birds swarm the dragon's wings, pecking and tearing at the delicate membranes. The horntail can't fly properly with damaged wings, can't pursue them effectively. Hermione transfigures a rock into a thermal blanket, experimental magic combining transfiguration and charms. She throws it over the dragon's head. Dragons regulate temperature through specialized organs in their skulls. The blanket disrupts this, making the horntail sluggish and disoriented. Harry darts into the nest, grabs the egg, gets out. Total time, 4 minutes, 30 seconds. The crowd goes wild. Fleur Delacour looks stunned. Cedric Diggory is impressed. Victor Crumb's expression is unreadable. "That was brilliant," Ludo Bagman shouts. "Perfect coordination. 10 points from each judge. Full marks." The Moody, who's actually Barty Crouch Jr. in disguise, realizes his plan is failing. He wanted Harry vulnerable, scared, easy to manipulate into touching the Triwizard Cup portkey alone. Instead, Harry is confident, partnered, and succeeding brilliantly. Crouch Jr. will have to adapt his plans. February. The champions must rescue hostages from the Merpeople village at the bottom of the Black Lake. Harry and Hermione prepare thoroughly. They don't use gillyweed. Too unreliable, limited duration. Instead, Hermione develops an enhanced bubblehead charm that filters oxygen from water molecules directly. It's innovative magic that shouldn't be possible for a 14-year-old, but Hermione's been studying advanced charms for 8 years. They dive together in the Merpeople village. They find their hostages, Ron Weasley for Harry, and Ginny Weasley for Hermione. She's become something like an older sister figure. But they also see Fleur's sister, Gabrielle, still chained, with Fleur nowhere in sight. "We can't leave her," Hermione says through the bubblehead charm. "Rules say we can only take our own hostages. Rules are made by people who didn't anticipate every scenario. We're not leaving an 8-year-old girl at the bottom of a lake." They free all 3 hostages, use Mobilicorpus to levitate the unconscious bodies, surface together. They arrive last, but with 3 hostages instead of 1. The judges argue about scoring, eventually award them maximum points from moral fiber, despite arriving after the time limit. Fleur Delacour approaches afterward, eyes wet with gratitude. "You saved my sister. When I was trapped by Zay Grindelows and could not reach her, thank you. Thank you so much." "We couldn't leave her," Hermione says simply. It's the right thing to say. Fleur becomes an ally from that moment forward. June. The final task. The hedge maze is vast, filled with magical obstacles, sphinxes, blast-ended scroots, acromantulas, enchanted mists. Harry and Hermione enter together. They've developed a navigation spell combining Point M with magical signature detection. It creates a mental map of the maze as they progress, showing obstacles in the path to the center. "Sphinx ahead," Hermione warns. "We'll need to answer its riddle." But when they encounter the Sphinx, Harry speaks first in Parseltongue, a language he's rarely used, inherited from Voldemort's curse scar. The Sphinx, startled by the dark speech, backs down without requiring a riddle. They progress deeper. An acromantula attacks. Hermione blinds it with conjured light while Harry uses Confringo to drive it back. The blast-ended screw charges. Harry transfigures the ground beneath it into a pit. Impressive transfiguration that shouldn't be possible without an OLL in the subject. They reach the center together. The Triwizard Cup gleams on its pedestal. "Something's wrong," Hermione says. Her detection spells are going wild. "The cup has been modified. There's a portkey enchantment on it." "A portkey to where?" "I don't know. But it wasn't there when the cup was first placed. Someone added it recently." Harry's scar prickles, not painfully, but with warning. "It's a trap," Harry says. "Someone wants us to touch this cup, wants to transport us somewhere. Do we touch it anyway? Find out who's behind this?" Harry considers. They could leave, alert the judges, let adults handle it, or they could spring the trap, carefully prepared, together. "We touch it," Harry decides. "But we're ready for a fight. Wands out. Back to back, the moment we arrive, we shield first, assess second." Agreed. They touch the cup simultaneously. The world spins. The familiar hook behind the navel pulls them through space. They materialize in a graveyard, old headstones, a massive yew tree, and in the shadows, Peter Pettigrew carrying something wrapped in black robes. "Harry Potter," Pettigrew wheezes. "And the mudblood, the Dark Lord will be pleased." He moves to place the bundle on the ground, preparing for a ritual. But Harry and Hermione don't wait. Stupefy, they cast simultaneously. Pettigrew barely blocks. "Wait, you don't understand. The Dark Lord requires—" "We understand perfectly," Hermione says coldly. "You're trying to resurrect Voldemort, using Harry's blood in a ritual. We've researched this extensively." Pettigrew's eyes widen. "Then you know you cannot stop it. The ritual is prepared. The Dark Lord will rise." They attack in earnest. Pettigrew is skilled but outnumbered. Within 90 seconds, he's stunned and bound. The bundle he was carrying falls to the ground. It writhes. the rudimentary body Hermione identifies. Voldemort's temporary form, created through dark rituals. If we destroy it now, a high, cold voice, you will do nothing of the sort. Voldemort's rudimentary body, barely human, more like a malformed infant, speaks with the Dark Lord's full consciousness. Harry Potter, so cautious. Your mudblood mother raised you well. Don't you dare speak about her, Harry snarls. Touching, but irrelevant. You've delayed my resurrection, but you cannot prevent it. I will rise again, if not tonight, then another night. The only question is, how many must die before I achieve my goals? All of them, Hermione says. Every Death Eater, every Horcrux, every piece of you scattered across Britain. We'll find them all and destroy them. Voldemort laughs, a terrible sound from that ruined throat. You know about Horcruxes. Remarkable. Who taught you? Dumbledore? Snape? We taught ourselves, Harry says. We've already destroyed one. The diary. For the first time, genuine surprise crosses Voldemort's face. Impossible. Your children. We're prepared. Before Voldemort can respond, new arrivals, Lily and Severus apparat into the graveyard, alerted by the emergency tracking charm Lily placed on Harry years ago. Lily sees Voldemort's rudimentary body and her expression hardens into pure fury. You killed James. You tried to kill my son. You've terrorized Britain for decades. Tonight, Tom Riddle, you die. Lily Evans, Voldemort hisses, supposedly dead, hiding like a coward, and you brought the traitor Snape. How disappointing. He's already casting complex wards that prevent apparition and portkey travel, trapping them all in the graveyard. Voldemort attacks. The duel is brutal. Lily and Voldemort exchange curses at a speed that makes the air shimmer. Severus creates potion smoke barriers and illusions. Harry and Hermione handle defense, maintaining shields over the group. The soul fragment in his body is unstable, Hermione observes. He's not fully anchored to this form. If we can overload it, Soul Severance Hex, Lily says. It's the experimental spell she and Severus developed, designed to attack Horcrux connections. On my mark, all four of us cast together. They coordinate, 4 wands pointing at Voldemort's rudimentary body. Now, Anima Seco. The combined spell hits Voldemort like a physical blow. His rudimentary body convulses. The soul fragment within, already unstable, barely tethered, tears loose. Voldemort screams. The body collapses into ash. A shadowy form rises from the ashes. Voldemort's soul, displaced again, wounded but not destroyed. You will pay. The voice echoes, fading. Then he's gone. Fled again. Escaped again, but weakened, damaged. The ritual incomplete. They stand in the graveyard, breathing hard. We need to get back, Lily says. The judges will be panicking, and we need to identify who placed that port key. Barty Crouch Jr., Hermione says. Disguised as Mad-Eye Moody using Polyjuice potion. I've suspected for weeks. Moody's been too interested in Harry, too eager to push him toward danger. Can you prove it? The Polyjuice will wear off in another hour. If we can keep Moody isolated, we'll have our proof when he transforms. They use the cup to portkey back. The return function is still intact. Materialize in the maze to cheering crowds. But Lily immediately pulls Dumbledore aside, explains about the graveyard, the trap, their suspicions. Within 2 hours, Mad-Eye Moody transforms back into Barty Crouch Jr. in front of the entire ministry. He's arrested, questioned under Veritaserum, confesses everything. The Triwizard Tournament ends in chaos and revelation. But Harry and Hermione stand together, unharmed, having once again outmaneuvered Voldemort through preparation and partnership. How many more Horcruxes, Harry asks that night, back at Spinner's End. Severus consults their research notes. At least 4, the ring, the locket, the cup, and Nagini. Possibly more. Agreed. They're 14 and 15 years old, and they're hunting pieces of the Dark Lord's soul, because that's what they've been trained for. That's what their family does. The next 3 years blur together in a montage of research, discovery, and systematic destruction. Summer 1995. They locate the Gaunt Ring in the ruins of the Gaunt Shack. Severus handles it carefully, recognizing the curse placed on it. Lily uses a specialized charm to contain the curse, while Hermione destroys the Horcrux using Fiendfire in controlled conditions. Dumbledore's hand remains uncursed. His timeline extends. Year 5. They identify Slytherin's locket location through research and creatures' testimony. Sirius confronts his family history. They retrieve the locket from the cave, all four adults plus Harry and Hermione working together. Lily drinks the potion, protected by antidotes Severus prepared in advance. They destroy the locket in Grimmauld Place with basilisk venom Hermione synthesized through experimental potions work. Year 6. Hufflepuff's cup in the Lestrange vault. They break into Gringotts. Lily's charms create a diversion. Severus's potions bypass security. Sirius's Aurora training handles the dragon. They steal the cup and escape on the dragon's back. Destroy the cup at Spinner's End. Year 7. Ravenclaw's diadem hidden in the Room of Requirement. Harry and Hermione locate it through research and intelligent deduction. They destroy it during the spring term, preventing it from corrupting anyone. Nagini is killed by Severus in a coordinated ambush. Sirius lures the snake into position. Lily shields the group. Harry and Hermione provide support. Severus delivers the killing strike with a silver blade infused with basilisk venom. By June 1998, all Horcruxes except one are destroyed. The exception, Harry's scar. "We need to remove it," Lily says. They're gathered in the Spinner's End library. All 6 of them now. The family they've built. How? Harry asks. Every method we've researched involves destroying the container. I am the container. She's been researching furiously for months. The soul fragment is anchored in the scar tissue, not your actual soul. If we can separate them, surgically extract the cursed tissue, we might be able to remove it without killing you. So is walking around with Voldemort's soul in your head, Harry counters. They prepare for 3 weeks, develop a ritual combining potions, charms, and healing magic. It's unprecedented, experimental, dangerous. The procedure happens in the Spinner's End basement, heavily warded. Severus performs the extraction using a combination of dark arts knowledge and healing spells. Lily maintains protective enchantments. Hermione monitors Harry's vital signs magically. Sirius stands ready with emergency medical supplies. The scar tissue is removed, a tiny fragment of flesh containing Voldemort's soul piece. Harry convulses screams, then goes still. For 10 terrible seconds, they think they've killed him. Then Harry's eyes open, green and clear and free. "It's gone," he whispers. "I can feel it, the connection, the weight. It's gone." They destroy the scar tissue with fiend fire. The last Horcrux burns away to nothing. Voldemort is mortal again. Voldemort attacks Hogwarts. He's desperate now. All his Horcruxes destroyed, his Death Eaters depleted, his immortality stripped away. But he's still the most powerful dark wizard in a century. The battle is fierce. Students and staff form defensive lines. The Order of the Phoenix mobilizes. The Ministry sends Aurors. But the core of the defense is the family from Spinner's End. Lily leads the Charms Brigade, creating shields and wards that hold back waves of Death Eaters. Severus commands the Potions Warfare Division, using specialized brews to devastating effect. Sirius coordinates the tactical response teams. Harry and Hermione, now 17 and 18, legal adults, fully trained, fight as a coordinated unit that rivals any Aurora pair. Voldemort himself targets Lily. "You should have died at Godric's Hollow," he hisses. "You and your son. Tonight, I correct that mistake. You tried to kill my son twice," Lily says. Her wand is steady. Her voice is cold. "You failed both times. Tonight you die for good." Their duel is legendary. Voldemort throws every curse in his arsenal, dark arts accumulated over decades. Lily counters with innovative magic Voldemort never anticipated. Combinations of charms and transfiguration that bend reality in ways the Dark Lord doesn't understand. Behind her, Severus provides support, creating openings, disrupting Voldemort's rhythm, applying pressure. Harry and Hermione handle the Death Eaters attempting to flank, maintaining a perimeter that allows Lily to focus entirely on Voldemort. The final spell is Lily's invention, Animus Ruptus, the spell she and Severus designed specifically to kill Voldemort permanently. It hits the Dark Lord square in the chest. His eyes widen in shock, his body convulses, and then he dies. Not dramatically, not with a massive explosion or grand transformation. He just dies, falls to the ground, stops breathing, the monster who terrorized Britain for decades, ended by a mother protecting her son. Silence falls across the battlefield. Then cheering, crying, relief. The war is over. Voldemort is truly, finally dead. 10 years later, Spinner's End looks different now. The exterior is still shabby. That's by design, to avoid attention. But inside it's warm and welcoming. Magical expansion has turned it into a proper home, with room for everyone. The dining table is crowded tonight. Lily and Severus sit at the head, both in their late 40s now, silver threading through Lily's red hair and Severus's black. They still teach at Hogwarts. Lily is head of charms, Severus is potions master and deputy headmaster. Harry sits beside Ginny Weasley. They married 2 years ago. Harry works as an unspeakable in the Department of Mysteries, researching magical theory and ethics. Hermione sits beside Ron Weasley, married for 3 years. Hermione is deputy head of the Department of Magical Law Enforcement, revolutionizing creature rights and muggle-born protections. Sirius is there with Remus Lupin, the relationship that formed quietly in the years after the war. Sirius reopened Grimmauld Place as a sanctuary for war orphans. Remus teaches there, and scattered around the table, the next generation. Harry and Ginny's son James, age 2. Ron and Hermione's daughter Rose, age 1. Children who will grow up knowing peace, not war. To family, Lily says, raising her glass. To the family we chose, Severus adds. His voice is warm now, the bitterness that defined his younger years long gone. To the family that saved us, Harry says, meeting Severus's eyes. They drink. Outside, the industrial town of Cokeworth continues its existence, unaware that the house on Spinner's End contains the people who saved the wizarding world. Inside, they laugh and talk and share stories. Severus watches Harry help James with a toy broomstick and thinks, "My son, my grandson, my family." The words no longer feel strange. Lily catches his eye across the table and smiles. After 27 years of partnership, raising Harry, teaching Hermione, hunting Horcruxes, defeating Voldemort, they've built something neither expected, not romance. Not the fairy tale ending where Severus finally wins Lily's love, but something better, genuine partnership, mutual respect, a family forged through choice and effort and relentless determination. Sev, Harry calls. James wants to hear the story about the Hungarian horntail again. That child needs better taste in stories, Severus mutters. But he's already moving toward his grandson, ready to tell the tale. Hermione watches with Lily. "We did it," Hermione says quietly. "We actually built this. A life worth having." "You built this?" Lily corrects. "You and Harry. We just gave you the tools. You gave us everything." They sit together in comfortable silence, watching the family they created. Outside, the sun sets over Cokeworth. Inside Spinner's End, the lights stay bright. The war is over. The monsters are dead. The children are safe. And the family that survived through love, preparation, and absolute refusal to surrender, that family endures. Forever. Let us know what you'd like to see next. The end.